Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Newport, Rhode Island, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Rhode Island. Yes, me and Mara on vacation here, hanging out with Lori Pag and the Chief. Two of our regular Zoomers, Kim Sipola. I think she's coming over for a live too. We're going to have a little reunion with our old crew, the original Wisdom of the Sages, Super Soul Sacred Sangha crew. Kastuba, good morning. How are you?
Doing good, Raghunath. Good to be here with you.
I think old Raghunath's going to go on a road trip. We're going to do some shows live on the road. Huh?
All right. That's what I heard.
I'm going to drive out to California.
When?
I don't know. Like maybe immediately.
Okay.
Maybe like, tomorrow. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, because my daughter's out there and I miss her. And I've got her car. And so I might drive her car out there.
Okay. Are you just going to drop off the car and fly back? Or are you going to stay there?
See my buddy Tukram.
Okay.
Hang out in Laguna. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm just sort of feeling spontaneous. Driving is driving is my happy place.
Is it?
I don't know what it is about driving, but everything just shuts down. All the busyness in my mind just shuts down, and I can really think clearly. That's how I used to write songs back in the day. But I used to just drive. It's almost like meditation, because you're not like, when you're on that highway, you're not thinking about too much. You're just going straight. And it's like all the vrittis in the mind settle. And I just feel like I get inspired. I get some divine inspiration in that car. What do you think about that? You're like, keep your eyes on the road.
For you. Go for it.
Come on, people know what I'm talking about. Give me some feedback to your message board. It is. It's divine, I think.
All right.
Anyway, how's it going with you?
It's going fine. I'm
Great.
ready to do this show. I'm all set.
Right. I'm having a great time with Lori Pack and the Chief. They showed us all around Rhode Island, cooked the best Italian food for us. Yes. Okay. Where are we at? Mara,
Are there any other ways that you're enjoying life that you want to share with us?
I'm going to Bhakti Fest.
Okay.
When's Bhakti Fest, Mara?
September 15th through 17th.
Yeah, if you're out there, want to go have a big Bhakti party, I'm going to be out there. I'm looking forward. You know who's going to be there? Radhika Ranjan from England's going to be out there.
Okay.
Yeah, and the crew from Mondal is going to be there. My book is available on Amazon. Somebody throw up a link.
For pre-order.
For pre-order. It's not out, but it's pre-order. Take a look at it.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you for all the people who pre-ordered. It means a lot. Okay. Well, let's go on with our announcements, Ms. Mara.
We have Back to Recovery group meetings today at 9 a.m. and at noon. And then this week, there's no asana class on Friday with Josh Kane. He had to take the week off. But next week, we start up. Michelle Berger is back for our Patreon members teaching asana every other Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And then this Sunday is the Urban Devi through the Bhakti Center at 11 a.m. Eastern time. It's a really great title. It's Gita Wisdom for Challenging Negative Thoughts. So it
Mm.
sounds like it'll be a good class.
Who's heading that one up?
Poonam Kapadia.
Okay.
Poonam.
Poonam.
All right, Raghunath. You got a nugget for us?
Oh, have I got a nugget for you?
Who's it coming from?
Hey, how about how wonderful that picture of you and me was I posted yesterday? Did anybody see that on my Instagram? Me and Kastuba, little Kastuba, baby Kastuba and me. Huh? You look the same. I look like a little chimp. Wasn't that adorable picture? Come on, comment.
It was very nice. Nice picture.
Okay. Here's the nugget. Ready?
Yes. Who's it from?
This is from Yamamoto Tsunetomo.
Who is
was
Yamamoto Tsunetomo?
He was a samurai and a Zen Buddhist priest who relayed his experiences, memories, lessons, ideas, and aphorisms to the samurai Tashiro, who compiled them under
Tashiro Tsurumoto.
Tashiro Suramoto, who compiled them under the title Hagakure. What? Oh, you're gonna get on my back because I can't read Japanese.
No. But you said it with confidence. Hagakure. I mean, I don't know Hagakure. We need Akiko-ji here.
Kiko-san.
Help us with that. Is she here?
I don't know if she's here. Anyway.
Okay, what does he have to say?
Here's what he has to say. Meditation on inevitable death. Good morning, everyone. Meditation on inevitable death should be performed daily. Every day, one should meditate on being carried away by surging waves falling from 1,000-foot cliffs.
You have that, right?
I do this. That's why I follow things on Instagram like hashtag natural disasters, hashtag landslides, hashtag.
Well, it doesn't say that you should scroll and watch videos of it. It says that you should meditate on it.
What do you think that is? That is hashtag dash cam footage, hashtag real trucks daily, hashtag maritime disasters. I live this. You know how many people send me.
You're a samurai. You're a Zen master.
So many people send me videos of sinkholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have it here, a note that Tsunetomo believed that becoming one with death in one's thoughts, even in life, was the highest attainment of purity and focus. He felt that a resolution to die gives rise to a higher state of life, infused with beauty and grace beyond the reach of those concerned with self-preservation.
Wow. That's a bold statement.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would just say, yeah, in other words, how can you, I suppose, how can you have that if you don't believe in, I can't say for sure that he even believed in an afterlife.
Right.
But it seems that he does,
There is a type of hardiness that these old school warriors get, these fighting the American Revolution and dying for God and country. I can't, I'm not going to.
He never fought any battles, Yamamoto.
He's a warrior that never seen action.
Well, I did a little research. Samurai is like, I suppose it is like a caste of warriors, but it's kind of like a social class too. It doesn't seem like everybody that's born into the samurai lineage is necessarily fighting battles. But it is, we're reading the story about Ajamila right now. He had this near-death experience, right?
Yeah, NDEs. Very interesting.
And it makes you think. Well, it's, my wife told me when she was a kid, she was on a basketball team.
Okay.
And the coach prepared them to saying okay, this is how we're going to go out there. Like the first possession that we get the ball, you're going to tip it to this person. This person's going to pass it to that person. That person's going to pass it to this person. They're going to go up and do a layup, and you visualize what you're going to go through before you go through it. And she said, and when they would do it successfully, it was like, we were so prepared that we just, when that moment of death comes, which it will come for each of us, if we've spent a life preparing for that moment, we see, and you and I have seen people that pass through it with such grace and
Dignity and
dignity and
bravery.
but depth of meditation. Bravery
Yeah, yeah.
and the depth of the meditation. So I like what he's saying, that he says, when I thought of you when I read that, it said being carried away by surging waves falling from 1,000-foot cliffs, but he's getting graphic, or cinematic about it, or whatever, like, but we'll be helpless in that point, in one sense, right? And that preparation for it, the preparation is so essential.
Yeah, I definitely feel it can enhance your appreciation for life.
Yeah,
by meditating in depth, it can accelerate your getting focused, your prioritizing things in your life. It could assist us from not wasting any time. It could make us sober to the fact that life is temporary, and that our relationships, our connection with source, these are like the most fundamental, most important things in our life. How we treat people, how we treat other people, and letting people know we appreciate them. These are like super important things that we should never forget about. Telling people on a regular basis that we appreciate them, releasing any anger, resentment, asking for forgiveness on a regular basis, not just sort of like, because you hear about this on your deathbed, bring people in so I can say I'm sorry to them. I want to talk to them. They want to bury the hatchet, so to speak.
Yeah.
And if that can be like a regular thing, you never know when someone you love is just not going to come back home. You're expecting them to come back, or if you don't come back home.
Yeah.
So to have that very clearness, so you're not carrying around extra burdens of ill thoughts towards someone. We were saying the other day on the show, I was like, if you're listening to this podcast, we should be walking around with a mind that's not angry at anybody. We should have that still of a mind.
Again, we've mentioned it before. I think it's an old I think sometimes Gandhi's credited with saying it, but I think it's like an old Indian thing, but that you should do your sadhana and do your spiritual practice as if you're going to die tomorrow. Right? And I think what you're saying is also there, but in many ways live like you're going to die tomorrow, right? There should be no, all your accounts should be taken care of, right? Your emotional, any apologies that need to be said, say them now, you might die tomorrow, like any relational kind of steps that need to be taken, take them now. Do your sadhana. This may be the last time I pick up my beads and chant. This may be the last kirtan I'm in. In one sense, living like that makes you gives you a very dynamic life. And then on the other hand, do your sadhana like you're going to die tomorrow, but study as if you're going to live forever. All right, like, but keep enriching your life with. Never think, oh, I'm too old to get into this. There's no point. Or no, constantly be a student, constantly be studying, constantly be enriching your life. So I think that's a great formula for not just for the afterlife, but for this life, right?
Meditate on death. That's my fascination with skulls and cemeteries.
Yeah, I'm sure it has nothing to do with Tamagun whatsoever. All right, Baba.
Oh, Prabhu.
A little bit of Tamagun there. Maybe just a little.
Tamagun, twist the Tamagun.
Okay.
All right. Let's get on to the Srimad Bhagavatam. We're diving into this great story of Ajamila. By the way, we had a great Sweet Baby Krishna last night. I don't know if we can be able to do one tonight. Depends. We might be, because we're going to drive back tonight, but we've been doing Sweet Baby Krishna a lot. It's been very satisfying. We went through 3 great stories. Went through the story of Dhruva. We went through the story of Rantidev. And went through the story of, what's the third one?
Ashtavakra.
Ashtavakra. Very interesting. Ashtavakra. Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tojayam dirayat. Before we started the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest. One should have respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Okay.
NDEs, Kostuba. That's what it's about today.
What's
NDEs.
happening here?
Near-death experience. It's an incredible phenomenon. People can research this. When what's at that time of death, at that passing, at that sangam between like embodied within this frame and your next life. People have so many interesting stories about this. And maybe death, they almost died, and then they come back into their body, or they're leaving, and they tell a story about it. Very interesting stuff.
If I remember correctly, I think people used to say that there's a film called Flatliners, and that something like this story kind of played out in it.
It's a fiction, or is it real?
No, like a fictional
film.
Not a horror film, but just a movie that dealt with death.
The chief
Okay,
says.
Maturananda's seen it.
1990 horror / sci-fi.
Not a horror, but well,
Right.
it did deal with
horror.
zombies.
Okay, it's horrible. It is horrible. But they can let us know. Oh, Kevin Bacon is in it. But yeah, so in any case, we're here with Ajamila, and the point is, it's not just the real lesson here has to do with bhakti, and in a comparison of bhakti with ritualistic religious kind of approach to life, right? You have the Yamadutas that are saying, this person, he did a lot of wrong in his life. And he apparently never atoned for it. There are religious rituals that you can do to atone for your sins. He never did it. We're going to drag him to hell. He's going to have to go through hell.
You got to do some time in hell.
Yeah, and the Vishnu Dutas are coming, and they're saying, you don't even seem to understand Dharma at all. This man chanted the name of Lord Vishnu. He called out that name. Once that happens, and we read a beautiful thing yesterday, right? It was at the end of text 10. It said that simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu, this sinful person may attract the attention of the Supreme Lord, who therefore considers, now we're hearing about the heart of the merciful heart of Lord Vishnu, the merciful heart of Lord Krishna, right? Considers, because this person has chanted my holy name, my duty. Who's he got a duty to, right? His duty is only to love. And he says, there's some, even if it's just a little seed of love here, it's my duty to give him protection, right? So he sends his messengers, the Vishnu Dutas come, and they're all over it. They're more powerful, and they're saying this, have no doubt in the potency of the name of Krishna, because this is hard for people that have been born and raised in the material realm to understand. But in the spiritual realm, the name and the object are non-different.
It's like having a direct line. It's like having a bat phone. Do you remember the original Batman, where there was like a red phone? It was the bat phone. You could call, and only the commissioner could call a Batman. You have this red phone. He calls him up, Batman, we need you. It's like the holy name is like having a direct line to Krishna.
Yeah, and it is Krishna. It's not even a line too, right? But it is. It's like that name itself.
Okay, bad analogy.
Well, no, I'm not saying the phone is Krishna. I'm just saying it's even more than that.
The phone is Batman.
It's even more than that. And if we go back to text 7, which we read yesterday, it said Ajamila has this is the Vishnu Duta speaking to the Yamadutas. Ajamila has already atoned for all of these sins, all this bad karma, right? Indeed, he has atoned not only for sins performed in one life, but for those performed in millions of lives, Janma Koti, right? Millions of lives. For in a helpless condition, he chanted the holy name of Narayan, even though he did not chant purely. right? His chanting wasn't with full attention and full love. But even though he did not chant purely, he chanted without offense. And therefore, he is now pure and eligible for liberation. And now, this is, we want to talk a little bit about this. And traditionally, there are 10 offenses that are spoken of, right, or aparadas. And we can get into what that means. We will. But I think especially what's being highlighted in this case, because the point is being made here. He wasn't a great meditator, right? In our practice of bhakti, what we're trying to do is that when we chant that name, and there's many songs written about this, and right, that like you feel the deepest connection to Krishna when you chant Krishna's name, so that tears come from your eyes, or your voice gets choked up, even you get like goosebumps, right? That you're feeling it so deeply, so intensely. He wasn't chanting like that. He was just calling the name of his son. He wasn't even intentionally thinking of Lord Narayan or Lord Vishnu. So it wasn't this pure chanting, but he also didn't do it with this ritualistic attitude that I will do this to counteract my bad karma. That's considered a real problematic mentality, right?
Yeah.
And so he was just calling out that name, thinking of his son, but still he chanted that name. And the important thing is he didn't do it thinking like, I can get away with anything because I chant this name and it counteracts everything. But why don't we talk a little bit about these 10 offenses? And these are
Sure.
you would you like to get it started, Cheryl? So we can go to we did this on episode 244. That was a long time ago.
Oh wow.
That we discussed. I kind of, there are these 10 offenses, and when you read them, they sound really cult-like and really like right.
Welcome to our cult.
When we were living in the ashram, they would commonly chant this in the morning, like very early in the morning.
Like every day. Every day you chant them.
Yeah, before we would.
I mean, when you do the same thing every day, it sounds culty, but
well,
they're good. They're actually great, and they probably are still. I probably can just, without even looking at them, I can have them memorized in my brain because we chant them every day. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life to the propagation of the holy name of the Lord.
Yeah. Okay. Now you think about that. That sounds a little to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life.
It sounds great. Here it is, 30 years later. I think that's a great thing.
No. I'm all for it. I'm all for the message. I'm just talking about the language in which it's encapsulated.
Blaspheme the devotees who dedicated their lives. That's a great thing. I think you know what? Sometimes this cult thing, it's got so many great things come out of it. Because what is a cult? It's a people have all the negative connotations of a cult, but it's a tight unit of people sort of like woven deeply and are like very, very focused on one thing. It's sort of like the Olympic training team.
When you start to reel these off, like to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Yes, that's bad. Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't disobey the orders.
I know, but I'm just saying, you sit here and you reel these off, and it's like, okay, what cult am I trying?
I'm rocking up, and I'm in defense of cults.
I can't blaspheme. I can't disobey. To consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. So anyway, why don't we go through let's talk about the context of these, right?
Sure. The context is trying to create parameters for us when we get into this very, very important part of our devotional service, which is japa. And japa is a way of like being with Krishna, controlling your mind, refining your intention, and calling Krishna into your life in a private way. It's not a public kirtan, which are also very important in our lineage. And it's not even private kirtan where you're doing maybe to your altar. It's private prayer that gets woven into our thought process, and after you're done, those mantras run through your head like a soundtrack to your life. You ever find that?
Well, no question. And when one is initiated, this is the idea, is that this is how, particularly in our lineage of bhakti, emphasis is given to this chanting of the names, right? I think I don't want to be too quick to characterize like other similar lineages. Like I know in Vallabha's lineage, there's a lot of emphasis given to the ritual of archana, right? Like I think when you get
Deity worship.
initiated, and you may know this better than me, but I believe that when you get initiated in Vallabha's Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti lineage, that you're given a little morty to,
A little
a
deity of
little,
Krishna. I don't
yeah.
know. Why do you think I know these things?
I don't know.
Oh, you're sort of
You're
out there, rocking out
you're into northern Indian,
Northern Indian worship.
Hindi, Gujarati stuff. But you are right.
Yes, I am.
Flavor, yeah. This I can say with surety that in our lineage, the greatest emphasis is given to the chanting. Right. Of course, that's there in Bhagavatam. We were talking about that yesterday. And so when one's initiated into this lineage, the idea is that there'll be different practices given, but the most essential practice is the meditation on the mantra, which are the names of Krishna. And that although our mind has been programmed with so much, that everything that we've seen and heard, etc., over many lifetimes, that this name is Krishna himself. It's all powerful. It can reprogram in the most powerful spiritual dynamic way that we can imagine. But that it's kind of like getting a suntan, like if the day is like totally cloudy, you might go out and nothing's going to happen, real thick clouds. And if the clouds are kind of clearing, maybe it's a little hazy, but it's coming through more, then you'll start to get tan, but it'll be slower. But if there's no clouds at all, it's like, boom, quickly, the effect of it will take place. So it's not that the sun is more or less powerful. It's just how covered are we by the clouds. And so the idea is that these 10 offenses, they're focused on removing whatever is getting in the way of our fully absorbing the potency of these names, right? And so when we get initiated into this lineage, the idea is that we're given beads to meditate, to as part of, as a tool for our meditation. We're given the mantra by the guru. And then the guru will also give instructions. And essentially, we can say that these instructions are given to help us build our life in such a way, live our life in such a way that we will be able to absorb the power, be receptive to the power of the mantra. That's our process, right? That's our yoga. That's our process. And there's a famous saying that the mantra that is not received in the genuine lineage does not produce results, right? And one could say, well, I chanted and it seemed to change my life even before I got into lineage. And one could argue, well, actually, it was coming through certain people. Different things to say, but there may be a mystical element to that.
Transference, a mystical transference.
Yeah, there may be a mystical element, but there's certainly also a practical kind of idea that if I don't receive it from a teacher that's going to help me develop the right sentiments and the right attitudes and give me the right knowledge and so on, so that I become receptive to this mantra, then its results won't really take place.
Well, you don't even know, because oftentimes you don't even know what the goal of the mantra is. That's a big part of it too. So the guru, when he's giving it, the guru is also explaining, what are we supposed to do with this mantra? Like, what's the win with this mantra? Where are we going with it? What's the direction? So that's also part of it. The guru imports the purport of the mantra. Otherwise, you have people, like getting into like, buying a book of mantras and just chanting anything.
Sure. And for all the wrong reasons. But also something that we used to do in the ashrams. Do you remember this one? Bahu Janma Kari Hari Shavana Kirtana. You know that?
Yeah, Tabu Pari Krishna Pari Premadana.
Yeah, Tabu Tana Paya Krishna Pari Premadana. That this is a verse. It's found in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that if one if one is infested with these 10 aparadas, with these 10 offenses, in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then despite their endeavor to chant and do this practice for many births, right? Bahu Janma. You may go on chanting for many births. You will not get the goal of this chanting, which is Krishna Prema, right? Which is the chanting. So
pretty interesting, right? Because this whole thing, it seems very simple. Well, what are you doing? You just, you're singing songs, you're chanting, cook some food, you offer to God, you offer flowers. It seems very simple. Actually, no. It's demanding a type of recalibration of your consciousness.
Yeah.
It's demanding us to change our thinking process. If a lot of us have been driving out of, crossing the double line. We've been driving onto the, scraping our side of our doors on the guardrails as we're driving all over the road, driving the wrong way down a one-way road. And these rules in Bhakti, right? These yamas and niyamas of Bhakti are meant to keep our car on the track so the chanting can actually work. Or else we're just a bunch of DWI reckless drivers cruising around, and we're not going to get the highest thing. So there's ways to behave, there's ways to think, there's ways to treat people, there's ways to treat yourself for you get the most out of these mantras. Or Bahu, what is it? Bahu Jani? Bahu Janma, for many, many, many Janmas.
Births.
Right?
And deaths. Yeah.
And deaths. It's not gonna happen,
Yeah, and it makes me think, it makes me appreciate Srila Prabhupada, who was a person that he wasn't interested in collecting a lot of followers, because if you just say, hey, take this mantra, and he said, you have to take this mantra and you really have to begin to change your life, change how you think, change, your habits and so on. Otherwise, this mantra is not going to work. He would just come straight out and say that, right? Otherwise, you're not going to be able to receive it.
If I'm trying to go back to New York today and I'm driving my car all over the road, I'm going to get into head-on collisions. I'm going to go off the rails. I'm going to go off the bridge. It's just not going to work.
The car may have power.
Yeah. I'm going straight, right? But it's like not straight enough, Raghu, right? Not straight enough.
Yeah.
So there's rules of the road, and the rules of the road, if you don't follow them, they're going to inhibit us from making any progress in the path. And then you'd be doing it for 5 years. I've been driving reckless for 5 years. I'm like, I don't see it working. Or what's up with Raghu, man? He's been doing this for so long. He's not getting any more purified. Yeah, because I've been doing it wrong. So this is why we come together and have these conversations to start to zip it up.
So there commonly at the time of initiation, when you receive that mantra, then the guru speaks on these 10 aparadas, these 10 offenses. Because I'm not just giving you the name, but I'm also giving you the instructions so that you will be able to receive the potency of the transformative potency of the name. But sometime back, I just kind of like they're worded in a language that is all negative. Right. And I just kind of took him. Sometimes, it's due to our conditioning, it's a little easier for us to hear a message if it's worded in a positive way.
So right? You flipped them
rather
around.
Than, don't do this, do this, yeah. So, and this isn't meant to kind of replace anything, but just a way to think of it more or more deeply, or in a new,
You know what? Part of our job is to
Translate.
Sort of make things current, where people can receive them in a different way. That's what we do. We to make things a little bit more current, so they're more perhaps digestible to the culture. It's not you're not
meant to replace anything, but just a way of contemplating its meaning. Yeah.
All right. So how did you reword the first one, which is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives to the holy name of the Lord?
Okay, so that was
the holy name of the Lord.
One has to be very respectful and appreciative of all people, particularly those who are sincerely dedicated to practicing bhakti.
I like that.
Okay, I like that.
You've got to be respectful to all people. Now that's a hard one, especially if this. There's people who want love the most, who need love the most, who are desperate for love the most. But they act in such a way where you want to give them the least love ever by their behavior. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like this is a big one. I can't just respect the people that are nice to me or good to me. We have to learn to love and appreciate people even though they might even drive us crazy, and sort of like they're the ones who actually need it. It's like the neglected dogs at the kennel. They need a lot of love. And because of it, they're sometimes barking. Sometimes they're a little snarly, nasty. That's sort of what we do. That's our job. It's a tall order.
Yeah. And here's being said, and particularly those who have dedicated their lives, to Krishna in the form of this name. especially there, we want to take great care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our story we had read yesterday on Barish.
Oh, Ambarish. Yeah, that's right. That's
Right.
right. Okay. I just sent you all 10 offenses just so that you have them handy. Why don't you read the usual translations?
Thank you. Okay, so this is the classic one. To
Yeah.
consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Okay.
Some people say, well, you worship Krishna. Fine. I worship Chandi. I worship,
Chandi.
right? You don't worship Chandi? All God is one.
Okay, so I translated this one like this. One has to clearly understand how Krishna is the root of all existence, even of the devas and the devis, as explained in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Right.
Like
so if I'm chanting Krishna's name, I need to know who Krishna is. Oh, Krishna is the root. Krishna is the source of, it's there in Bhagavad Gita, right? I'm the source of the devas, right? He's the source of, so understand who you're addressing when you chant this name. Okay?
I like this.
Putting anyone down, but it's just putting everything in place.
These are great. People should write these down, or we should post these on the board, because the way you flip them is very
You like this? Okay.
Yes.
They're on our Instagram page if you go down quite a ways.
Okay, or we can just repost them right now on the message board, or maybe we should repost them on Instagram.
Okay.
To disobey number 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Okay. One has to have deep faith in their spiritual teachers as representatives who embody the wisdom of the sacred texts and a willingness to receive their guidance.
Nice.
Okay.
Don't disobey my orders.
Do not
you
disobey.
Understand? But what if he tells me to kill somebody? You don't disobey.
Okay. So yeah, in other words, there are people that are expert at this that can help us practice it better. We need to be willing to receive that guidance. If you're not willing to receive that guidance, things are going to go really slow for you, at best.
Yes.
So that's reasonable, right?
That's reasonable.
Okay.
Okay. Number 4, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance of the Vedic version.
Okay.
Okay. So what's the more contemporary translation of that?
I don't want to call it more contemporary, but just the positive spin, let's say.
Positive. Well, it is contemporary. I think it is.
Yeah, I suppose. One has to have.
I think it's just sort of like the way they spoke then.
Yeah, it would like if
they
you're growing up in a Bengali village like 400 years ago.
You don't
no
disobey
problem.
the orders of the guru because you have full faith in the guru. But here we're like a guru. We don't trust it. We don't trust the person we're married to.
We don't trust our parents. We don't trust anyone. It's like they're like, of course you trust the guru.
Yeah. Why would you ever disobey the orders of the guru?
What's your problem? Okay.
Yeah. So you have to reframe these to our modern culture.
Okay. So read number 4 again.
To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance of the Vedic version.
Okay. One has to have.
We don't even know what that means.
One has to have deep faith in the sacred texts of the Bhakti tradition, like the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Boom. Very good. Number 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination.
Okay. And that has a lot to do with like the pastime we're reading right now, right? Like the Vishnu Dutas come, say he was chanting the name. He did it one time. He wasn't even doing it to chant Lord, but it destroyed all of his bad karma from many lifetimes.
Yeah. For us
to
just go, you know what? That's crazy. That's an exaggeration. That didn't happen.
So one has to have deep faith in the value of the practice of meditating on the mantra and that its potential is unlimited.
Nice.
Okay.
There's an unlimited potential to the chanting of the mantra.
It's Krishna, and Krishna is unlimited. Yeah.
Yeah. 6, to give some interpretations of the holy name of the Lord. What do you do for that one?
One has to understand the truth about the mantra through the sacred texts rather than by making it up themselves.
There you go. I like that.
Okay.
Right. Because otherwise you could be like, that one means you shouldn't explain it to somebody, to give some interpretation.
Yeah, and there's another one about explaining it to people too. We'll come to that.
Oh, yeah. Number 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name.
Okay. Now, this is one that maybe makes more sense in like the Vedic context and the Indian context and so on. But yeah, people had the idea of what karma is. People had the idea that I've certainly accrued a lot of bad karma in this life, maybe even in previous lives. I've heard that by chanting these mantras, it nullifies the karmic results that are due to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you approach it with that ritualistic religious mentality, you're actually doing this all wrong, right? And so I wrote it out like this: one has to approach the practice of the chanting as a way of purifying their heart, a way of overcoming being ruled by their lower nature, rather than a way of supporting their lower nature. Right? I can still go on and living like this. I just chant and I nullify it. And no. You don't use this to support your lower nature. This is about letting go of your lower nature, becoming purified of your lower nature.
Yeah, you can't start making deals with the with the celestial beings. Like, oh, you
And so
give me this, and I'll do a little bit of this.
And I think essentially that's what the Vishnu Dutas were saying to the Yamamas. He may have called this name out not thinking of Lord Vishnu, but you know what? He wasn't calling it out to try to nullify his bad karma, and therefore it did nullify his bad karma, right?
Yeah.
He didn't have an impure intention. That's an impure intention.
Okay.
Number 8.
Give me that list back.
You ready?
Yeah. To commit sinful activities on this.
That's the one we just did.
Okay, I'm sorry.
7.
8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities or karma kanda.
That's similar, right? I'll get good karma for chanting this name. Good things will
This
come
is
to
good.
me.
Oh yeah, I need some good luck in my life.
Yeah, no, that's not what this is about. One has to clearly understand that the purpose of this meditation is to develop true, unconditional love for God and every living being, and not for any materialistic purpose.
Right. It's woven into that culture that there are mantras, there is worship, pujas, etc. That will give you like good luck, good fortune, a good husband, a good wife, a good children, healthy children. Stuff you hear people pray for.
Money,
pray for my child, pray for my health. You know, it's not bad things, but you're the idea, and there is some benefit to it. The idea is like, I'm not the controller of everything. Things don't happen by chance. There's higher beings in charge of the good and bad things. It's supposed to elevate our consciousness, but ultimately we accept, hey, our life is in divine hands. Yeah. Trust that Krishna has some bigger, greater plan for you. It may not appear what it is right in front of your face, but there's a greater plan that you'll be taken care of.
Okay.
All right.
Number 9.
Number 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. So what's wrong with that? That sounds like a good thing. It seems like we want to instruct faithless people.
With a deep sentiment for just how sacred Krishna's names and pastimes are, one has to carefully consider who they explain the esoteric side of bhakti to.
There you go.
Because a lot of people will not be able to understand it and are likely to respond in a way that only further removes them from understanding.
I like that.
Right. So there's certain esoteric aspects of it. No, the basics we can explain to anyone. You're not your body or the spark of spiritual energy. But when you start to explain deep things about Krishna and who he is and so on to people that don't get it, there's a good chance that they're going to just be more turned off by it than turned on.
Keep it simple. You're not flesh and bones. Everybody's a spirit soul. The spirit soul is in every living being. You're a young cowherd girl. Keep it really simple.
Okay. You're a young cowherd girl.
You didn't catch on. You're like, wait a second. You're a young cowherd girl trying to find your lover. Okay.
That's what you are.
That's what you are. Don't argue. Just accept it.
10.
Okay. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter.
Okay.
It's all okay.
No, keep. We'll
It's
keep that
also an
last part.
offense.
No, hold on to that.
Okay, I'll hold
Get
that
there.
one.
Oh, so read just 10 again.
To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so much instructions on this matter.
One has to really appreciate how special the gift of bhakti is and demonstrate that appreciation through letting go of the idea that happiness comes through external material things.
Oh yeah. You're good, Krishna, but you're good.
And then they sew this other thing onto it at the end, right?
Yeah, this is the add-on. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema.
Prema. One must really endeavor to respect the mantra as non-different from Krishna and approach this meditation with focused care and attention.
Okay,
That's it.
stupid. Good job. I really appreciate that.
Okay, I'm glad I appreciate that you appreciate it, Raghunath.
Yeah. Things need to be just sort of spoken for today's audience in a way that they can hear it and receive it.
Yeah. And so, again, here's the fundamental idea that we have a mind that's full of programming, full of karmic reactions, full of attitudes, full of illusion, full of misconceptions. But the powerful, dynamic way to counter it, one of them is Shravanam, hearing, right? Contemplating truth. But another one that has an even more kind of like a mystical element to it is that by bringing your mind and absorbing it in the names of Krishna, particularly through Mahamantra, that it's like it powerfully transforms the mind, powerfully transforms the heart. But it's like the sun. If you're covered by the clouds, you're not going to get the effects so much. So therefore, to receive the effects of that, one has to carefully consider their attitudes, their actions, their words, their body, their mind, their words, in order to receive it. And therefore, there's all this yama, niyama, different regulations in life that we accept, different attitudes that we nurture in ourselves, so that we'll become more and more receptive. And if someone comes to you and they want to give you some spiritual practice and they don't talk about any of this kind of stuff at all, then it's likely that either they don't really know what they're doing, or they're just trying to get followers and they don't want to share with you the harder part of it, right? The fact that you actually have to commit yourself in a particular way, regulate yourself in a particular way, make an adjustment in your attitudes or your behaviors and so on. Right.
Like it.
Right. Should we read a few verses? Or we're a little low on time, but
we're at 54 right now.
Yeah. Why don't we just read a few verses, because they're kind of
here's text 11.
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, Text 11. By following the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or undergoing atonement, sinful men do not become as purified as by chanting once the holy name of Lord Hari. Although ritualistic atonement may free one from this sinful reaction, right? It does not awaken bhakti or devotional service, unlike the chanting of the Lord's name, which reminds one of the Lord's fame, qualities, attributes, pastimes, and paraphernalia.
Right. You like that?
Yeah, I do.
Smiley over there.
Okay,
Please
text
continue.
12. The ritualistic ceremonies of atonement recommended in the Dharma Shastras, or the religious scriptures, not the Dharma Shastra, the religious scriptures, are insufficient. Oh, maybe they are the Dharma
It is the Dharma Shastras.
I was right on there.
Yeah.
Are insufficient to cleanse the heart. Absolutely, because after atonement, one's mind again runs towards material activities. That's the problem with atonement. Consequently, for one who wants liberation from the fruit of reactions of material activities, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra or glorification of the name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord is recommended as the most perfect process of atonement, because such chanting eradicates the dirt from one's heart completely. It's
the sincere kind of atonement, right? Not only do I not want the reactions to what I did. Imagine if, like, I offended Raghunath, right?
Let's imagine that.
Let's imagine that.
Let's all imagine that for a moment.
Let's say I went into his house and I stole something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Raghunath had like every right to turn me into the police,
Mhm.
and I would have to bear the result of that.
Okay.
And I just said, I got caught. And I said, Raghunath, I'm sorry. You know, I'm really sorry, and I'm willing to do anything that you ask me so that you won't turn me into the police and I go to jail. So he might say, okay, well, you know what, just your apology is enough, and you know, or you might tell me, I want you to
Run
become my
around the house
servant
3
for the next
times.
week or something like that, or whatever. You know, you give me something to do.
Clean out the garage.
Yeah, so like I could atone for it in that way, but even while I'm cleaning out your garage, I might be thinking of what I'm going to steal next, because maybe I won't get caught.
Yeah, keep that
this
guy out of
time.
my garage. He's gonna go for
Right.
my chainsaw.
Yeah, so it just shows. So it's showing that would be totally insincere, right? What would mean something to you is if if I was really sincere about it, and what would be healthy for me is if I genuinely regretted what I did, and came to the firm conviction that I don't want to ever do anything like that again to Raghunath, right? So what's being what Bhagavatam is just trying to show is like there's a lot of Vedic ritual. There's a tons of stuff, and people get caught up and lost in that. And often it's not even very deep spiritually at all, where people are just like trying to atone for something they did and not even trying to lose the desire to do it again, you know, or just trying to get something materialistic. This Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva is saying in Bhagavatam, let all that stuff, that was beginner steps for beginner people. What we're talking about now is the real essence of life, to develop divine love for the origin of all existence and for every living being that's connected to that origin. This is where all the yoga goes to. This is where all the rules and regulations go to. This is what all the rituals are meant for, that you become this pure, loving, spiritual being, and you let go of all that other stuff. It's superficial. It's not important.
All the mudras, mantras, gems, everything that we're doing is meant to bring us to this pure bhakti.
Yeah.
It's meant to assist that, and don't get swept away by those things.
Don't get stuck in Scranton.
Don't get stuck in Scranton if you're driving to LA.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck in Scranton. That's their original analogy.
That's right. Okay. All right.
All right. Let's wrap this up. Miss
Marriage.
Mara, do you have any interesting little nuggets we could take us with? Take us.
Take with us.
Take us.
Yes.
Take us.
I have some
Take us,
nuggets that will
Mara.
take you. All right. Meditate on death daily.
And there you go.
Happy day, everyone.
Resolution to die adds beauty and grace to life.
Resolution to die. I resolve to die.
Release anger and resentment and apologize.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have no doubt in the potency of Krishna's name.
No doubt. There's a band, No Doubt. That name's already taken, right?
No doubt. That could be a band's name.
How covered are we by the clouds?
Yeah.
Know the goal of the mantra.
Know the goal.
Know the
praying.
goal.
Bing.
Know the
Krishna
goal.
praying.
Follow the yamas and niyamas to keep your car on the road in the right direction.
Follow the yamas.
Change
You
your
say follow
habits.
the llamas.
Follow the lamas.
Change your habits for the mantra to be effective.
Yeah.
Upgrade your habits.
Upgrade. Yeah.
There's unlimited potential in the holy name.
Unlimited.
I
It's
like
Krishna.
Mm,
And
Not yet.
not yet. Counter our mind's false programming with japa.
It'll do it.
okay, recalibration. Got that.
And
Mm.
the holy name is even better than Batman.
The holy name is Batman. I thought we
It's
said
better
that.
than a bad phone.
Even better.
The bat phone is
I think the holy.
Batman.
The holy.
The holy name is Krishna. I got
Krishna is
corrected
Batman.
1,000 times. It's not gonna a direct line to Krishna. It's Krishna. All right, I'm
Not
sorry.
that
Back off. This is a live show. I've never used that analogy before. Everybody's jumping on my back.
Nobody's jumping on your back.
Yeah, you said it. Henry said it. Everybody's attacking me today. It's Krishna himself.
Oh, it's Sammy's birthday.
Whose birthday today?
Sammy.
Sammy, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Kim, welcome to Live. Good to see you. one of the OGs of the podcast. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, everybody, on Zoom. Oh, you want to join Zoom? You just got to write Miss Mara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. She will send you the secret code, which acts like a key to enter our coven. Please join us here. It's been fun. Looking at everybody, waving to everybody, writing secret messages to other people. Correcting Raghunath. You can do that on the message board too. Raghunath, you're off again. I know you're just spontaneously coming, this is a live show and you're spontaneously coming up with creative analogies, but no, you are wrong this time. That's okay. You can do that when you're live. Make sure you go to Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, give us a little review, and tell us why you like the show and how you got here. Go to YouTube, always comment, always like, always share. That's important. Go to Raghunath.yoga to check out all my events coming up. Go to Bhakti Fest and go to Wisdom of the Sages to check out our wisdom training that's happening in India. You can join us in India and Mayapur. We're taking a group of devoted souls to Mayapur. And when we go there, it's not just going to be for like sightseeing in Mayapur. We're going to all the holy places in Mayapur. We have a whole plan for you guys in Mayapur. And Mayapur is special. It's so special. It's the birth of Lord Chaitanya. It's the birth of the holy name. And not the birth of the holy name, but Lord Chaitanya is the Kirtan avatar. And it's the foundation of our lineage. So to go to Mayapur, to bathe in the Ganga, to go to these holy places where Lord Chaitanya went.
We're going to have Kirtan.
Nothing's like that.
Evening boat on the Ganga Kirtan.
Evening boat on the Ganga Kirtan. And you know what? The prasad in Mayapur is... You can't even understand this stuff.
That tomato mango chutney. Oh. Remember that?